My name is Joseph Edgar. I believe very strongly that our educational system needs a boost in its arms, using the alumni platforms as a major vehicle for these reforms. I'm on the backstage story to discuss this issue. Thank you.
It is often said that stagnant water stinks. So is a life without giving. Anyone who has nothing to offer will remain stagnant and will stink. You must contribute to other people's lives. It's not just about taking, it is also about giving out. It's not about money, it's about giving words of encouragement, it's about giving your time, your energy to a cause, and your time to your family, to your loved ones, and words of motivation. I am Demola Sonyonda, and today on Backstage Story TV we have a very exciting topic. We'll be talking about giving back to your alma mater, and I have a very special guest with me on the show. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. The Backstage Story show continues in a moment. Alright, welcome back. Today on the Backstage Story show, we thank everyone for staying with us all through the year. It's been awesome, it's been spectacular, it's been tremendous. We love all your mails, your messages, all your advice has helped us this far. We appreciate you, and we say thank you. As the year wraps up, we pray for you that you won't be a victim of any form of calamity or disaster or any form of catastrophe. We are on the Backstage Story show today, and we're talking about giving back to your alma mater. And today, to discuss the issue with me, we'll be talking about rejigging the educational sector, using alumni as the vehicle and an agent of change, using the alumni as the agent of change and the vehicle of change. And to discuss that issue with me is a very special guest, a brother, a mentor, and a senior. Is with me in the studio today. I'll be talking about rejigging the educational sector in Nigeria. The government cannot do all. The government cannot take over the entire responsibility. What do we have to do to contribute to the system? We do not have to blame the government for every error and every fault. We have our role to play, and that's why we're here to talk about rejigging the educational sector using alumni as a vehicle of change. And to discuss the issue with me today, I have Edgar Joseph. Edgar Joseph is a renowned banker. He has a profile. He's going to tell us more about himself shortly. He's a renowned banker. He's an actor. He's a scriptwriter. He's an embodiment of talent.
Yeah.
Who exactly is Edgar Joseph?
Okay. Joseph Edgar is a young man, very a maverick. I've heard some people describe me as that. I'm an investment banker by profession. I've worked in some of the very beautiful investment banks in this country. I'm also an author. I have to say acting just yet. I don't know when I get there. So I published a book. A second one is coming up early next year.
Okay.
I'm also a theatre producer. I've done 2 major productions in the last 24 months, and we're also working on the 3rd one. Last one we did was Isareko, which we did celebrate Lagos at 50. Okay. It was a 75-man cast, with serious support from the Lagos State government.
Okay.
So that's who I am in essence.
Alright. So was there any part of the growing up years that channeled you towards achieving or becoming what you are? Would you say there were things you were doing in your mannerisms while growing up that spiraled you into that area of interest?
The only thing I can remember right now is the fact that I used to read a lot, and it was quite funny because while in school, I attended Commercial Secondary School in Ipaja, Lagos. While in school, you wouldn't count me among the ones we used to call Efiko those days.
Fabas.
You wouldn't count me among them. But suddenly I just suddenly picked up interest in books. I used to read a lot up to a point where I noticed my father used to complain. It had come from a point where I was reading at all to when I was over reading, and all of that. So that's in essence, on hindsight, puts me in a position to feel that maybe all of those books I digested in those early formative parts of my life it's what's been directing me now in my middle age.
Now, alumni is generally former students.
Yeah.
People who left a college or university coming together to form an association.
Yeah.
There is a narrative about alumni.
Yeah.
Is it a wrong narrative? Is it right? There's a narrative that alumni is just generally about paparazzi, owambe, parties. Let's just gather and then enjoy ourselves. People display their wealth, you know, flaunt what they have. Some people come and flaunt their wealth to intimidate their other colleagues. That's a narrative that people believe. What is your own narrative about alumni?
At face value, one may want to agree with you, you know, but I also want to say that there's some other very serious aspects of alumni, which is what we're trying to pull out. You know, in the open. We've seen school alumni that have contributed significantly to the development of not only the school, the immediate community, and also the country as a whole. But now, what percentage of those alumni, if you take that, if you want to add, if you want to compare that to the total percentage of alumni, quite little, and that's why we're trying to change this narrative, like the word you've used now, to see how we can push alumni associations and make them what they should really be: agents of change, agents of development within not only the schools but also the immediate community.
You want to lead the alumni of the school.
Yeah.
Why so, and why now?
Okay, I've been asked this question a lot of times. You get, I've worked as an investment banker for 22 years.
Okay.
You know, I've been involved in a lot of what we call capital raise in my industry for both public and private sector, and I've seen the kinds of development, the kinds of things that being focused, being determined, you know, has brought to the table in terms of economic development and all of that in various sectors of the economy. And then every day we keep hearing all sorts of stories about our schools, how the education standard has dropped. You know, when we were in secondary school, and I mean the goal of our parents was to move us to federal government colleges or schools like Command Secondary School and all of that. Today, the goal of every parent now is to move their children abroad. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, so I got thinking, you know, I mean, if we had achieved this much, you know, professionally, why don't we bring that skill set, you get, into the educational system? You know, bring the processes, bring the structures that we've used successfully in investment banking and bring into this educational sector and see how we can impact positively on these schools in terms of funding, in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of capacity building, especially for the teachers. So we've just heard what happened in Kaduna now, where 20,000 teachers couldn't pass a primary 4 test. Sadly, I just heard that a court has overruled the governor cannot sack those 20 people. I took a strong position on that case. I write a weekly column for this day called Lab Dispatch every Saturday, and in my column I wrote there very clearly that I supported the sack of those people, because why would you have teachers that can't pass primary 4 test and they'll be teaching our children? Now all of this is because of the dearth of funding. Do you understand? In the educational system. Now, so basically, government revenues have shriveled. We just come out of a recession. You know, government find it very difficult to meet its obligations to all of the other sectors in the economy, more critical sectors of the economy. Yeah. So it's now time for us to now wake up the sleeping giants in the alumni associations. Do you understand? To come together and generate these funds, you get, and partner the federal government or whoever owns these schools, you get, to beef up the quality of education in the schools. You can see what some of these religious institutions have done with their schools, taking back their schools. You know, the Catholic Church and Methodists and Anglican State Counties are doing with their schools. Those schools are coming up gradually. So basically, it's funding. Do you understand? Then how do we get the funding? We can't keep on going cap in hands with government. Can't keep on going cap in hands with government every other time. Do you understand? We can generate these funds from the sheer numbers of people that make up the population of these alumni. That's what we're pushing. That's what we're trying to push. That's what we're trying to sell to the country.
This is still Backstage Story Show. I'm listening to Edgar Joseph. Edgar Joseph is or was an alumni, or was a student. I was a student of Command Secondary School, Ipaja, Lagos, and now he wants to lead the alumni into an arena of prosperity and progress for that school.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The Backstage Story Show continues in a moment. Welcome back. This is still the Backstage Story Show, and today we have Edgar Joseph. We're talking about the alumni, using the alumni as a vehicle of change for the progress of prosperity of educational sector in Nigeria. And we've been talking about the narrative of alumni and what it ought to be. Edgar, let's talk about health. While we were in boarding school those years, there was a particular period we got malaria attacks frequently, and what the school did was to introduce a Sunday preventive measure. We had Daraprim. Daraprim every Sunday. We start taking our papa. So I know that's it in your time. Yeah, we had it in our time. So we had Daraprim.
Yeah.
What will the alumni? What is the intention? Let me fold the question up so that we have it in one box. Health, entrepreneur, and then soft loans for small and medium scale business people who come out of school and cannot depend on God, cannot find jobs.
Yeah.
Health, entrepreneur, and soft loans.
Yeah.
How do you, if you become an alumni president, how do you intend to channel your energy and succeed in those areas?
Okay, first thing, let me get something here very clearly. See, we're trying to trigger a movement. Do you understand? That goes beyond command secondary school and goes towards all the alumni in this country. So that's first what I'm trying to say. So in doing that, so let me bring us down to the command part of it. See, we are pushing our campaign on a tripod of delivery. One to the school. You get one to the school, its students and all stakeholders within the school. The other one to the alumni and its members, and then finally to the community as a whole. Now, these things I've talked about, entrepreneurship, health, and all of that falls into these three broad categories. And what can we make? What do we need to prepare all of this? Is the funding. Do you understand? Is the funding. So we want to build a fund. I don't want to give the figure on there. We want to build a fund that will touch these aspects. We're already talking to counterparties who provide these services in corporate Nigeria who are willing and ready to work with us, because the numbers are there. You can honestly go through this. That you see, we don't see alumni as a charity business anymore. We don't see alumni as a how will I put it? If I like, I do. I like, I don't do. We see alumni as a serious business right now. And I thank God that serious corporate organizations are beginning to see what we are seeing and are ready to work with us. So, for example, you talked about health. Let me talk about health now. The average HMO, that's the health management organizations who have been served with the task of giving us health insurance and all that. If you look at their customer base, it's not that wide. They're struggling to bring in this. And then, so if you now went to a serious HMO and said, look, I will need for you to cover all the students in this school. I also need for you to cover all the members of my organization. So when they look, they see the figures. Command Secondary School Lagos alumni, we have a potential membership base of 10,000 people. Do you understand? And now, that is not to say that a similar portion of those people don't already have independent health cover. But I want to assure you, based on my feedback, that over 70 to 80% of those 10,000 don't have health cover. Are you seeing now? So if we're able to build a significant fund at the level of the alumni in the center, they'll be able to get very good rebates from the HMOs to cover all of our members and also cover the students. You get all of the mentioned names there, but we've heard of students dying in federal government owned schools due to negligible health care. Do you understand? Negligence. Me personally, when I was in command secondary school, I took ill. I had cerebral meningitis. In Form 1. Well, we thank God those days the healthcare delivery system was quite commendable. So the school moved in, No, it was commendable. This was 1979, 1980. Things were still very okay. So they moved in straight to the military hospital on Aula Road. And that was listening. But fast forward that now to where we are right now. Do you understand? So the alumni must, as a matter of urgency, transmute from a social club, a voluntary organization, to a serious engine of growth. Do you get? And how do we achieve this? Is by bringing together everybody and chasing what I want to call as an investment banker retail funds. So for example, we do not want those big monies, no. We are 10,000 people. You get, if we work on say 50% of that, that's 5,000 people.
Yeah.
If you ask 1,000 naira
per month
from each person, that's 5 million naira a month. Multiply that by 12, that's 60 million naira a month. A year. That can go a long way to a school that's been starved of funds forever. Are you understand now? Now let us even expand it outside of command, because that's where my vision is. My vision is not going to end with command. That's honest God truth. We have only 2 years if we win this election in the first tenure. Do you understand? So we might not be able to achieve a lot in 2 years. I want to show you how this idea will impact on society. There are 4 first generation command schools, and we're still working on 50%. All the schools were set up in 1977. Do you understand? So 5 million times 12 times 4.
Okay.
That's 240 million.
Okay.
Then there's 21 second generation command schools. Are you see now?
Okay.
So multiply that by 21. Then there's a rush of federal government colleges, there's a rush of King's College, Queen's College, and then come back to state-owned schools, come back to private-owned schools, then go to the universities, then go to, you see. So if we're able to put all of those funds together, do you understand? Are you beginning to see what I'm talking about? So at the end of the day, all these individual schools will just be able to stand alone, with or without government subvention or government support. You get, the alumni will be able to act as a buffer, peg school fees. The alumni will be able to support capacity building. So we'll be able to get lecturers, teachers that will be going for refresher courses. Now there are some teachers and lecturers that can even open a laptop. Do you understand? In a digital world. Are you seeing that? So the alumni is a bastion of wealth. When I mean wealth, I'm not talking about money. Do you understand? I talk about, for example, in command, my set, we have 4 military generals in my set. Only God knows how many doctors are in that alumni. Only God knows how many architects are in that alumni. Only God knows how many all sorts of professionals in that alumni. So a credible leadership, do you get, can tap into those resources, do you get, to provide benefits, first and foremost to the schools and then the community around it.
Edgar Joseph is expounding on alumni and how it can benefit the society at large. We're still talking, but don't go anywhere. I need to play a soundbite from one of the interview that Edgar had with a particular set. He was asked a question and he gave an answer. We'll be right back to discuss that after this short break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Backstage Story show on BackstageStory.tv, and I am Demola Sonya. I'll be right back.
Okay, brilliant. Let me explain the investment company very carefully to people. Now, you see, when you trade in shares, that's where the risk is. But from my experience, you see, till tomorrow morning, shares still give you the greatest amount of returns on investment than any other stock, because basically they tell you that the higher the risk, the higher the return. But that's not what we're trying to do here now. What we're trying to do here now is to open a company like Transcore, an investment holding company. That company will hold positions in stronger companies. Do you understand? So we register the company, we hand over 30% of this company to the alumni. The alumni will hold 30% of the company, but 70% of that company will be sold to commandos voluntarily, not by force, so at 20,000 naira a pop, minimum investment. I just have a guy will buy shares in that company. That company will be totally different from the alumni. Do you understand? Now, my target is to sell those shares to 5,000 of our members, and that will give us $1 billion naira if we succeed. And that's why the diaspora members in diaspora are very critical to our plans. Do you understand? So you cannot imagine if we now control that kind of wealth, how that will impact on our members, how that will impact on the school, how that will impact on the society in terms of job creation, in terms of wealth creation, i.e. by paying dividends, do you understand, to the shareholders, do you understand? And then that from that day we raised that 1 billion naira, the association is now worth 300 million naira. So the days of an empty treasury is over. The days where the association will be depending on dues is over. Do you understand? That's the company I'm talking about. Now on the trust fund, we intend to collect 1,000 naira every month from our members through direct debit. Now, members are finding it very difficult to pay the 5,000 naira per annum because they see it as charity. Do you understand? But when you begin to see it as an investment, you will run to pay, because you find out that from that your 1,000 naira, you could be entitled to collect soft loans for your business, single digits. You could be entitled to get medical cover, insurance cover, and all sorts of welfare programs. So my plan is to do another 100 to 200 to 300 million naira under trust fund. These funds will be managed by banks. We're already talking to custodian banks. We're already talking to insurance firms that will work with us. Do you understand? So that's it for now.
All right, welcome back. And that was a sound bite from one of Edgar's interactive session with a set in 1991 set, where he was talking about enlisting Conlag into the stock exchange. How do you intend to achieve this?
The stock exchange is a vehicle for wealth creation in a system in the country. That's where you go to create wealth. And do not forget that we are saying that we're trying to push the alumni away from their traditional zones of comfort into much more serious, into making them a little bit much more serious contributors to national development. So our vision is to build an investment company, an investment holding company that will be the largest alumni-based, alumni-controlled company that will be listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now, why I want to do that is, one, to ensure transparency, two, to ensure a very high level of corporate governance, and four, three, to allow for that company to be able to compete with other such types. Now, you see, the model is very simple and very clear. We've seen the churches, and this is very controversial, so I don't really want to go into that. But let's go through. We've seen churches who own small microfinance banks, we've seen churches who own schools, we've seen churches who owns bakeries, we've seen churches who owns all sorts, even car lots. I've seen churches that own car lots where they sell cars. Now, the model is very simple. So the Cora funds, the Cora retail funds, from a large number of people, make up their membership. Do you understand? And then move those funds into this business ventures. Do you understand? Do not forget that I showed you a roadmap to 60 million naira. I showed you a roadmap to 240 million naira. Do you understand? So we register a company. Do you understand? It's like in this case now, we register a company called, say for example, Comlag Investment Group or Comlag Company, and then work with financial advisors, professionals who will now show us, give us a business plan and direct us towards where we feel the company should play, whether it is FMCG companies or whether it is in health sector, or whether it is in agri or wherever it is. Now, do not forget now we have a base. Now, talk about command now as an example. Okay. Because I'm hoping this program will go far. So other alumni can also listen, also replicate it. Do you get it? So we have a wealth base of 10,000 members who come from various sectors, have various experiences. Some of them are captains of industry, some of them are huge musicians, wherever it is. Do you understand? So we register this company, and then we give 30% of the company's shareholding to the alumni body. So that the alumni body holds 30% of that company. Now, what that means in essence now is that for every 100 naira this company makes, 30 naira goes to the alumni. So that moves the alumni away from depending on dues. Okay. Move the alumni away from going cap in hand to beg members for money every day to make it financially viable. Are you seeing that? Yeah. And then 70% of the shareholding of that company will now be sold to its members, that 10,000 people. So if we succeed in selling to 5,000 people, I'd say for example 20,000 naira, that's $1 billion naira. So with that kind of shareholding structure, then that company qualifies to go to the stock exchange. You get to get listed on the second tier market. Do you understand? And then that puts you in a position to attract further investments and all of that. Do you get? So now this company will not only be making money for itself, this company will be in a position to employ some of its members who are looking for jobs. You get, and also embark on what one call impact investments. So that's investments that have serious positive effects on the economy. Do you understand? Not necessarily a profit motive like that. Do you understand? Right. So when someone asks me a question about selling shares, it's not selling shares, it's not buying shares. Do you get? It is what they call long-term holdings. Okay. Do you understand? Long-term holdings. So you may trade your share, but you go there, you get, for example, because you want to contribute back to society using this vehicle. Do you understand? So it's not this thing. But let me just say one last thing before I will leave this topic. My son attends the school. I don't want to call the name of the school here, and the school fees is close to £1 million per term. And the school is a 30-year-old school, a secondary school, and they're running at a loss. So I'm wondering why I'm paying close to £1 million per term for my child, and the school is not declaring profit at the end of the day. So when I went in to look at the books very well, I found out that they had borrowed short-term money from a bank, tied themselves to floating interest rates. Do you get? And do not forget, the school only has 3 periodic inflows of funds: first, second, third term. Outside of that, nothing else. Everything that you pay school is just small. It doesn't make sense. It's just money for ballet, money for this, money for that. But those 3 inflows is tied to the loan directly. Yeah. Okay. And then so because it's a floating interest rate, so today we're paying X, next time we're paying X plus plus. So because school don't use the loss. And I asked the proprietor, madam, have you thought about selling the shares of the school to people, to the parents? Sell 49%, you still hold 51%, which is controlling, and then you raise the money and pay off the bank. Do you get? And I didn't get to hear from my bank again. But let's go through that. If I can pay £1 million per term for my child, so why can't I put 100,000 naira as to buy shares that we hold in that school? Because if I'm comfortable for my child to go to that school because I like the standard of education, so why can't I invest my money inside there? That's the same model we're trying to push here. So I went to command. I like command. I'm passionate about command. I don't want command to die. So what is 20,000 naira as my own contribution into a pool of funds that will see us generating revenues that will sustain command.
All right. We are still on the Backstage Story Show. Edgar Joseph, alumni of Command Secondary School, Lagos, and is vying for the position of the president of the alumni come 2018. We're going to talk about diaspora, alumni in diaspora, voting, getting them involved in participating in the alumni from diaspora. If and when you become the president, what plans do you have for voting from diaspora or contributing their own quota? The diaspora audience, how do you intend to bring them into your government?
Okay, let me tell you this. Very simple. The federal government lost the diaspora fund. It's not a joke that they lost the diaspora fund because they've seen the tremendous wealth that is outside there belonging to Nigerians and they want to pull it in. That fund was oversubscribed by over 100% So it means that Nigerians abroad have tremendous confidence in our country, so they all invested in that diaspora fund. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard of Western Union money transfer or whatever it is. The kinds of monies that come into this country in December from diaspora usually affects the exchange rate. Those who trade in forex, they know this because the kinds of inflows are coming in from Nigerians in diaspora. Nigerian diaspora are a little bit much more interested in things that has to do with Nigeria because of their nostalgia, because they're not in the country. That's why you see they're the ones pushing Hollywood, they're the ones pushing everything Nigerian out there. You have once gone to a wedding in London and you just think you're in Idumota. Do you understand? So the alumni for us said it's very critical for our plans. Very critical. And I must say on this God committee, I all of them. They are so well, they are so ready to be part of we will need to tweak our constitution because our constitution says something about, I'm not sure just says something about you being fiscally present during the elections like that. We need to tweak that portion so it reflects the new narrative because that's what like using because it's a global village right now. So I don't have to be fiscally present anywhere to vote and do anything like that. So we work with the BOT. We've had conversations with BOT on this, and I thank God they are seeing the need for us to get the diaspora people involved. Because right now I think we have the North American chapter, we have clusters all over the world. So part of our plan is to reach out to these people and bring them in.
All right. You are still tuned to Backstage Story Show on backstagestory.tv. You can log on. You can subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Backstage Story TV, and you can also visit our website, www.backstagestory.tv. Subscribe anytime we have a new update, a new information or a new program, you get notified first. Note that you get notified first. So subscribe to our channels on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, and you get notified first. We are still talking alumni and how to use the alumni as an agent of change to prosper the educational sector in Nigeria. And my guest has been Edgar Joseph. Edgar Joseph is an alumni of Command Secondary School, Lagos. And his intention, his objective, his purpose, and his dream is to set Command Secondary School Lagos ahead of others and make them a role model for other alumni. We're still talking alumni.
Yeah.
Your agenda is, your slogan is let's do this.
Yes, it is, yes.
Now, let's do this. You have 2 years.
Yeah.
What's your short-term dream and what's your long-term dream? How do you intend to incorporate all your ideas such that it's easy for those that are coming afterwards to also run on that agenda?
Yes. True. You see, yes, I had a long conversation with my former, with the outgone, the immediate past president.
Right.
And he brought up this topic. I said to Edgar, you have said so many things. And you have only 2 years. How are you going to do that? You see, for us, we've looked at what we have promised. Do you understand? And like I rightly said, we've broken it down to short term, mid and long term. Do you get? But you see, we'll be very, very successful if we can plant the vision into the people. If we can plant the vision into the people, and people begin to see alumni no longer as a social club, but as a serious vehicle for business, a serious vehicle for economic development.
Yeah.
But to be very specific, we see ourselves as an aggregator. We do not have monopoly of knowledge. We are not saying that we know everything, but see, we will provide a platform where, for the first time in the history of our alumni, everybody that has purpose, everybody that feels they have something to contribute, will come to the table and bring his own or our own contribution. So the first thing we're going to do is that from the moment we emerge, within the first 14 days, we are going to inaugurate what we want to call the Elders Advisory Business Council. Now, the Elders Advisory Business Council is a council that will bring together command people who have made their mark in various levels of business. We have people who are running giant firms they built from scratch, who are people, I don't want to mention names here. We have people who have picked in the Nigerian army, they've gotten to the level of general and they started from entry level. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So we're going to harness all of those people into the Elders Advisory Council. Do you get? And then so their task is to guide us as we are moving forward in this change vision. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now we already that will happen the first 14 days of our listening. Then now my brother is saying, what is killing us as Africans? I don't want to say Nigerians, I don't want to say anything controversial. Is the personalization of processes and institutions. Do you understand? So if it's all about Edgar, when Edgar moves or Edgar dies, it will collapse. That's why Edgar has to make sure his brother takes over from him, or his father or his son takes over from him. What we want to do in that command alumni is to institutionalize structures. Do you understand?
That will run on
autopilot. So whether whoever is the president, do you understand? We have structures that cannot change. See what's happening in America today? Americans have voted in somebody that is funny. I don't want to go too much. But the institutions cannot allow them to do anything to him. Are you seeing now?
Yeah.
So they have to follow due process if they won't do anything. He himself, in all of his madness, he too has to follow due process. The institutions are far stronger. So we want to build those kinds of institutions in command. Do you understand? We're seeing sets where they want to do end of year party, you're paying money to someone's personal account. No. You get? Because we're talking about serious money now. If I succeed in what we're trying to do, the association should be worth about 500 million in 2 years. Those kinds of funds, you have to build strong institutions that will handle those kinds of funds. Otherwise, you have a civil war in your hands. The other. So what we are promising command people within the first 6 to 12 months is those institutions, those structures, those processes. You get? We are going to hire we're going to hire auditors, external auditors. We're going to hire consultants. You get? All these people are going to back end their fees. What else outside there? Let's talk about something right now. You see, there's nothing that's more powerful than vision in this life. There's nothing more powerful than vision in this life. Once you have vision and there's clarity of your vision, you can make things happen. You don't even need a dime. I'm telling you, you can call in favors, and once people see it, they will make things happen for you. When I was doing my play, I woke up that morning and said I'm going to do a play called Saleko, and I have a dime. Do you understand? From the venue to the acts to the costume, the makeup people, everybody keyed in before we had the first couple. Do you understand? Yeah. Eventually we raised 45 million naira. Do you understand? But I could still have done that production confidently without a penny. It's vision. So once you get that vision, but you need to institutionalize it. Do you understand? Yeah. So those are the things that we're promising command people within the first 12 months. We'll institutionalize our vision. We'll depersonalize it. Do you get? I, for one, will not sign any check. I keep saying that. I do not believe very strongly that the office of the president of any association, any organization, should be involved in signing check and receive voucher. Do you get? It's a joke. Do you understand? We are going to change that constitution, that part of that constitution. Let the financial people, the younger people, our own job is strategy, is implementation, and vision driving.
All right, thank you so much for staying tuned. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll round up on this episode of the Backstage Story Show. My guest has been Edgar Joseph, and we've been talking about alumni, using the alumni as a vehicle of change for the educational sector in Nigeria. How do we revamp or rejig the educational sector using the alumni as an agent of change? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. This is the Backstage Story Show, and we appreciate your staying tuned. I still have my guest with me, Edgar Joseph. Edgar Joseph is vying for the presidential position of the alumni of Command Secondary School, Lagos, and we've been talking on several issues on how to use the alumni as a vehicle for change and progress in the educational sector in Nigeria. Edgar, let's talk about some of the things you heard about yourself that you need to correct. I want you to use this forum and platform to correct those wrong narratives. All right.
Okay, the trick here is that by mentioning those things, it's me reaffirming it for lots of people that have never heard. But thank you for this opportunity. I've heard that I'm very aggressive. I've heard that I'm desperate for this and that. Why am I being desperate? All of that. You see, the honest to go through this that if you believe in something, do you understand? You have to show a certain level of aggression. Otherwise, you won't really achieve anything. We're talking about an association that has 10,000 members. You cannot bring all of those people together into a vision by being passive. There has to be a certain level of aggression. There has to be a certain level of drive. There has to be a certain level of energy that will push you into that session. Then again, it's not a one-man show. No. We have a team. We have a team of over 50 people. Over 50 people working with us, spread all over the 37 cents of Command. So everything you're seeing here now, just I'm the talker.
Alright, it's been very exciting having you on this show, on this episode of the Backstage Story Show. Nice having our guest, Edgar Joseph, on the show. And remember that you can log on www.backstagestory.tv, and then you can also hook up with us on all our social media handles. On Facebook, Backstage Story Television, that's the page. On Twitter, it's Backstage Story 7. On Instagram, Backstage Story TV. And then on Twitter, on YouTube, Backstage Story TV. Subscribe to all these channels and get notified first once we have a new and a fresh program. I am Demola Sanyaolu, and until I meet you again, remember that life is about giving. Don't become stagnant water. Stagnant water stinks. Until I meet you again, I say do well, keep well, and stay atop your game. It's bye for now.